Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Computer Applications at Ozarka College. Today what I thought I'd do is give you a little bit of feedback on the Word Module 3 assignments that I finished grading late last week. And then I'm also going to give you some feedback on the Word Production exam that I finished grading this morning. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about Excel and specifically the activities that we have coming up due for Excel Module 1. Okay, so the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the Word Module 3 assignments last week. I believe I finished grading the last of them Thursday morning since they were due. Actually, I finished grading them Wednesday morning because they were due by Tuesday. So hopefully you've had a chance to go in and look at your grades for those activities. If you haven't already done that, go ahead and do that as soon as you can. And let me know if you have any questions at all. Overall, most of you did well on the Word Module 3 assignments. There were some formatting errors that I noticed on some of the submissions for the Word Module 3 assignments. But most of it was just overlooking something or just kind of running out of time, waiting too late to get started on the assignments and just kind of not having enough time to check your work and go back and correct errors. So on future assignments, if you did have points counted off for formatting errors, then for the next set of activities, the good thing to do is to prevent that problem is to get started earlier on your activities, on your assignments, so that you give yourself more time to get everything completed, and then ask me questions if you have questions as you're working through the assignments. Okay? But like I said, overall, most of you did well. Most of you put the time and effort in that was needed to do the Word Module 3 activities very well, and so I really appreciate that. So keep up the good work on the assignments. On the Word Production exam, the Word Production exam closed Friday evening at midnight, and I had graded some of the ones that were turned in by Friday morning. I had graded last week, but the ones that were turned in later in the day on Friday, I went ahead and finished grading those this morning. Overall, most of you did well on the exam, but just like on the assignments, there were a few of you, I think, waited too late to get started on the exam, and you kind of had to rush through it, and you kind of skipped over some things, some formatting, and so I had to count some points off for that. But overall, most of you did well. It's obvious most of you are putting the time and effort in to the class, and I really appreciate that. Let's see. I did notice there were a handful of you, about 4 or 5 of you, that instead of inserting a footnote like it said to do on the exam, that was one of the last instructions on the exam, was to insert a footnote, which you had learned to do in Word Module 2. When you learned the MLA style research paper, instead of inserting a footnote, like I said, 4 or 5 of you instead inserted a footer. There is a big difference between a footer and a footnote. So if you did that on the exam, if you inserted a footer instead of a footnote, what you need to do is go back to Word Module 2 and make sure you really study what a footnote is and how to insert a footnote, because you will be doing something very similar on the final exam at the end of the semester. You will have a flyer very similar to what you just did for the Word Production exam. So if you're still having problems with a footer, or the difference between a footer and a footnote, if you're still having problems inserting a footnote, then you need to, again, go back and review that in Word Module 2. And if you still have questions, just let me know, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have on it. Okay? All right. Now, so that brings us to what we've got that we're going to be working on this week, which is Excel Module 1. So if we go to the activities page in MyOzarka, right now we are on week 6 of the semester. Now you notice there's nothing due this week, but there is work due early next week, specifically Monday, September 30th. So you basically got a week from today, which is September 30th. You have about that 1 week period of time to be working on Excel Module 1. So don't wait until early next week, Sunday or Monday of next week to get started on the Excel Module 1 activities. Go ahead and get started this week, even though they're not due until early next week. Don't wait until next week to get started because you probably won't get it all completed. All right? So now Excel is a spreadsheet program. And most of you probably opened up Excel before and done a little bit in Excel. Some of you may have done more than just a little bit. You may have had a class in high school where you had to use Excel. But Excel is basically a spreadsheet program. It allows us to keep track of financial data or numerical data in a series of rows and columns in the worksheet. And it allows us to not only store that data, but also make calculations based on that financial or numerical data. And we can also create graphical representations of the data, which are called charts. And so we will learn basically how to create a workbook, which is basically a series of worksheets in one file in Excel. You'll learn how to create the basic worksheet in the workbook, which is just a series of titles and headings and so forth that allow you to identify the numerical and financial data in the worksheet. And then also you'll learn how to format all of those, all that information that you put into the worksheet. And again, you'll also learn how to insert formulas and functions to calculate things like totals with the sum button, to calculate do other calculations based on formulas and so forth. And then later on, in a couple of the other modules that we'll do in Excel, you'll learn some more complicated, more detailed formulas and functions. But for this first module, it's just going to kind of introduce you to what Excel is and how data is inserted into Excel, and then again show you how to create those calculations and also how to create a chart based on those calculated values. Okay? So be working on Excel Module 1. Remember that on the Assignment 1 page here in MyOzarka, on the Activities page, it gives you some instructions here. Make sure that you're reading through the instructions carefully. All right? And the data file, by the way, that it refers to in the instructions is at the very bottom of the resources. It's below the demonstration videos for some reason. It just kind of put it there. So when you get ready to do that first assignment in Module 1, you'll need to go down here and click on this blank Excel workbook with the Office 2013-2022 theme applied. The reason I'm having you do that instead of creating a new Excel workbook to create Assignment 1 is because since the book was published, since the date that it was published, Microsoft has changed the default theme in Excel, just like it did in Word, and we learned about that when we were looking at Word the last few weeks. So it's the same thing in Excel. They changed the default theme, which kind of changes the default font and so forth. And so just to make your workbook, your worksheet in Excel look like the textbook, you're going to have to use that data file. Open up that data file. And all it is just a blank Excel workbook with the older theme applied that will go along with your book a lot better. Okay? So also remember that there are demonstration videos here. And in the demonstration videos, I show you step by step how to create the worksheet in Excel, how to insert the calculations like the totals and the other calculations that you're going to be doing in this assignment 1. And then I also show you how to create the chart. So if you're having problems working through the textbook instructions, watch the videos. That's what they're there for. They will help you, guide you through the creation of that workbook for Module 1. Module 1, Assignment 1. Then once you've done Assignment 1 with the use of the videos, then you should be able to take what you've learned from doing Assignment 1 and apply it to Assignments 2 and 3, because they're going to be very similar. Okay? So be working on those assignments for Excel Module 1. Also, you notice there's an objective test there. So make sure you're working through that as well. And remember, you can take those objective tests as many times as you want to up until the due date. And the highest grade is automatically recorded on those. Also remember, there is a Excel Module 1 help discussion item under week 7 that I would like you to use if you have questions as you're working through Excel Module 1. Any questions that pertain specifically to the module, to the assignments or activities, go ahead and ask your question on the discussion there, and that way when I answer your question, other students in the class will be able to see my answers, and it may help other students in the class that have similar questions or issues. Okay? So again, Excel Module 1 activities are due by a week from today, which is September 30th. So be working on that. Let me know if you have any questions at all. And that's really all I have for you for today. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I will talk to you again sometime next week. Thank you.